That's good.
Warm up. See,
Okay.
I'm cold. That's why we need the warm up.
Hi, Cold. How are you? So yeah, I made a caption for you. So get something. Okay. Oops. I toggle the private chat. Gotta go ahead and share a link.
Loading up links as well. Hey, you're nice to have you join us on YouTube. I don't see anyone yet, but on Facebook we have your follow.
Copying links. 1 minute.
I can't seem to select this. There. Earlier it wasn't selecting. Hey, Pico. Pico is showing kamay.
Sure, that's the thing.
Hello again, says Yuram, this time on YouTube.
Okay, that's fired up. As usual, we appreciate if you could like the video on whichever platform you are watching this on, and then share the stream maybe if you are so inclined. You can delete it after, but at least while we're trying to get the live audience gathered up, always helps. Pico's explaining it's a wave. Wave. Why are you like a whale doing a wave?
My whale would be.
Wow. I wasn't quite sure, but could you show me that again?
No. Hey, Mitch.
Hey, Mitch. So at least I think we're caught up with like high priority geekery for the weekend. We've watched Star Trek Discovery. We've watched The Mandalorian. We watched 42nd Street. We're back in our Thai Advanced shirts. I feel like we worn them recently, but it's okay. Just wearing them again.
So Pico is now showing his smileys are being hit by the flooding.
Yeah, that looks very tsunami. And I don't know if they're laughing or are they crying. The water. Oh, wow. We're already at 8 people. Hey.
Yeah, it's a surprise.
Well, we appreciate the very core audience of Baduy Pride that keeps us going. We're all connected. Nope. Now we're 7. I guess we're not that connected.
Hey, Curves. Just dropping by. I guess that was Curves.
Hello, Curves. Thank you.
They're being carried by the wave. Yeah, that's what it seems like.
So it's a carrier wave. Sorry. Man, when I pun very nerdily. Is it my eyes or the camera just having a hard time like focusing? Probably should wipe the lens or something.
Maybe. Yeah, it's a bit blurry there when you're there. There, see? That's blurrier than go back. There.
Wow. Okay.
I guess we start.
Might as well. I guess we have we have the usual stuff. We don't have the guy who suggested the topic though.
This is Toby.
And this is Rocky.
If it's your first time here, welcome to Baduy Pride, a little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
This is completely unscripted and not entirely accurate, but at least it's honest. Join us, we talk about everything and anything random live.
And if it's not your first time here, thank you so much for joining us again. This is the 102nd episode, and we are spending at least 30 minutes talking about
Life milestones. Oops, I didn't change the caption. There you go.
Getting comfy with us. No, life's milestones. This was sent to us by
Andre. He actually suggested this originally as the topic for episode 100. And then we ended up talking about relationship stuff. So, which is okay too. We actually there's actually a new question in the queue. It's kind of heavy because it's more about ending stuff. So we'll see. Oh, Nikki is pausing his movie. Oh, thank you. You didn't have to.
But I think he's not enjoying.
Yeah, I know he aborted Repo.
Tried.
It's okay. It's an acquired taste.
Yeah, it's okay. You don't have to love everything. And that is a life milestone.
Is it? Is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Well, let's start. Officially, life milestones.
Hello,
Hey, Karen. What are life milestones?
That's the thing, right? So when you say a milestone, you these are like things that you expect people have to go through or hit at one point in time or another. So it's sort of like if there's a checklist of things you need to do. I mean, like for example, for babies, they have a developmental milestone list where at 2 months you expect babies to do certain things. At 3 months, 4 months, whatever.
So they're like developmental goals that you check if you've hit them.
Yeah. So that's like specifically developmental baby milestones, and I don't know about beyond that.
Because you're not all our babies.
That is true. And hey, Megs, thanks for joining. On Friday, we talked about sort of the throuple topic.
Yes.
Just letting you know.
So you have to catch that. You have to watch that episode because we did it. We did it last Friday
for about 2 hours. Yep. Nikki he mentioned he ended it, but he has to wash out the bad take. It is quite the gory movie. It's very gothic now, Repo. In that sense, it has very gothic sensibilities. But hey, your lead character one of your lead characters is a grave robber.
It's all about repossession of bodily parts. So
that alone is strange.
You can't avoid having gore. But going back to our topic,
milestones.
Why milestones and not life goals?
Because goals are aspirational and goals are unique to the individual. So you don't necessarily have the same goals, but in theory, we all eventually hit the same milestones. Is sort of the assumption. That's how I, in my head, differentiate milestones from goals. Which in itself is kind of what makes this topic a little tricky, which is why we didn't do it as episode 100, because it's hard to say what are like universal milestones that everybody has to do. I mean, even if we go like your traditional heteronormative form where like classic life milestones would probably be getting married or
have a kid before you reach 30x. Those are the
those things. And even that we acknowledge that you don't need to be married to have a fulfilling life. You don't need to be married to have kids. Interestingly enough, you don't even have to have kids. So in that sense, I mean, like it gets very tricky to like what are actual milestones out there that you think people should get through.
I feel milestones is also a good term because goals implies there's failure.
Yes, you can fail at a goal.
Whereas milestones are more about if you hit them, great. But if you haven't, that doesn't mean you failed. You're still working.
You're just you're on your way, and you'll get them sooner or later.
Yes.
Okay, so people are starting to chime in with ideas. So, for example, Kenny says losing the V card. I suppose that's sort of a milestone, but I feel like it's an inevitability.
I always just feel that the V card, as it's called, is really just the social construct that was created by Christian Catholic guilt.
That's
in order to limit your interest, or at least to rationalize why you shouldn't be considering or talking about or exploring sex. And given that much weight, I feel losing that card is less a milestone and more not getting hung up over the concept of the V card.
That's something. Yeah, it's like was this a former boss of mine used to use this weird analogy that it's like it's like discussing virginity among whores,
Mhm.
where sorry, the full statement is tenure, as in employment tenure, is like virginity among whores. It's not something to be proud of. You're all gonna lose it eventually,
Mhm.
which is that's sort of that. It's just a thing. So maybe it's not as big as a milestone.
Mhm.
Nikki has posted a bunch of food ones. Let's go through them. So Nikki, of course, says first job, and I think that's fair. I
Yes,
think
I
that's
think
like
that's
a big milestone. Where sorry, in our capitalist society, you need to get employed
I would
to generate
even
income.
I would even expand first job to not necessarily be employed, but to basically a milestone would be to do something and get paid for it.
Ooh,
Because
broader.
that doesn't necessarily mean you're employed. That could be you create stuff and you sell it.
Or
Or-
yeah, freelance, or you are entrepreneurial from the very
Yes.
beginning.
So I would expand it to that. And I think that is a good milestone to realize that your time is worth paying for. Your
Mm.
skills and your
So
effort.
we can call it first. What's this? First. Well, generating income
Yeah,
for
something
the
like
first
that.
time. Yeah. Okay.
There's first relationship.
Which is fair, I think.
Mhm.
But again, I guess when it's first, I don't know. I get tricky about attaching first to things.
Well, in terms of a milestone,
I
there
guess.
is that you crossed that line. So that was your first relationship. You've crossed that milestone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's less a goal and more a that's how far you've got.
That's true. It's a marker.
And yeah, your first relationship is always a milestone that's tricky because more often than not, that first relationship wasn't really a relationship. It tends to be
A very emotional roller coaster.
or a puppy love given too much meaning, or an emotional exploration that was given too much weight.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, you realize it wasn't really that sensible yet.
Okay. Travis has dropped by. Any jokes? Does getting a daddy count as a job? Well, if you earn income for it, then I guess it's something. Amazing contribution to this discussion.
Oh, Travis,
We miss you.
we miss you.
Okay.
Um,
Then Nikki mentions first heartbreak. And then I guess I wish people didn't have to go through this as like a milestone.
mhm,
But I guess it is bound to happen.
mhm.
And then what's more important is what you learn from it. And that
Yes.
and I guess that you accept that no matter how good a relationship can be, it can end. And sometimes ending is the good thing.
Yes.
Like it's still a positive outcome for everyone involved. And so
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be seen as something bad in itself.
Failure is in many ways the best teacher when it comes to a lot of things, especially what's the word, social learning and
Mhm.
emotional maturity. It's through failure that you actually grow more because you start to realize that you will question and hopefully recover from in terms of your self-worth and all that.
Nikki says for a travel experience.
Mm.
And I think for a lot of people, this is like an interesting milestone, but it's definitely a milestone that not everyone gets to go through. Do we have to recognize that?
Unless you scale it. Like the first travel experience could literally be just
Out of town, out of your town.
yeah, or going out. I mean, as a kid, you're always at home, and eventually it's the first gimmick. And doon tayo sa Makati. Huh? We'll go to Makati? And that is that milestone of wow.
Traveling to another city. So you could, you
Or
could
traveling without family.
scale it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a way to view it.
That'd be interesting. So going out on your own
Mhm.
as opposed to like big travel. Because I mean, there are some people who will never get into travel
Yes.
or who will never have a chance to travel.
Mhm.
It's
also
it's a
interesting
constraint.
how some experience that first travel experience not as a choice but as a requirement.
That's true.
For example, it's an out of town field trip. And-
Or just even traveling for school, like
Mhm.
because you're going to university or college outside of your hometown.
Yes.
Or sometimes your school really is out of town and you travel every day.
Or for some of us, not like me, who fall asleep on a jeep and wake up and you're in the province.
Welcome to your first travel experience. You are now somewhere else. Nikki still has a lot of suggestions about first time to try alcohol. So this again is like, I guess it's definitely one of those milestones that is not universally applicable.
Mhm.
Not everybody wants to try alcohol or
Mhm.
has to try alcohol.
Mhm.
I mean, it's fun. I mean, we we generally enjoy it. But then like I definitely see alcohol as more a social experience. And then if it's just on my own, I am not the type to drink alone.
Do we identify then the milestone as when it happened literally, or do we identify it as when the person chose to do it? Because like a lot of kids do grow up with the dad going, "Oh, try this,"
Yeah.
and then everyone laughs.
It's tricky. I don't know. I mean, like I think it's still milestones are still like sort of when they happen, and then it's like when you lose your virginity, and it's not going to happen in an ideal setting. It's not going to be as fun as you'd like it to be, or as porn makes such relations between people as exciting to be. But it still happened. Okay. Um. This is not a milestone. Not. I don't think so. That's a bit too niche. Yeah, Kenny shares. He also remembers getting his first payment. See, that's the thing, right? Getting paid for something that you did is awesome, and that's a nice feeling. Definitely a niche thing. First musical theater ticket. I feel like this is more now a goal to like watch a musical because it's still very interest driven, and I think it's not a majority of people who are gonna go through it. So I don't know. Maybe it's at least it's definitely one of those. Your experiences are not universal moments.
Or we really just have to recognize there will always be divergences in this tree of milestones.
Yeah, but we're trying to say like life. I mean, I think it should still apply to like majority of the people out there. There's a very large statistical possibility you're going to happen.
Yes.
And there are just some people who don't care about musicals and will never want to watch a play. So, okay. First purchase with your own money, which is very related to the first income.
Yes.
But that's true. And it's nice what a lot of people like put a lot of thought into it. Like we had discussions recently about a lot of people like want to treat their families with their first paycheck or take on part of the financial load of the household.
Yes.
That's cool. I'm thinking, what did I do? The very first time I got paid was probably by comics because I did voice work in school.
This can even be seen as a recurring milestone in the sense that you have first paycheck, so first time to spend, and then first time to spend with this level of expense, and then how there's that, oh my god, I'll actually be able to spend or blah blah blah, or I can get this thing that it requires 12 installments, but I've reached this point. So there's those levels.
Curve says, so I guess milestones are not inevitable things. Definitely not. They're not automatic. I think there's still a degree of contribution work that you need to do.
I guess there are a few that would be inevitable, but
like becoming a senior citizen
or experiencing a death.
Okay.
Or getting stuck in the hospital, you being forced to check in, for example.
Get confined. Admitted.
Yeah. And stuff like that.
Check in.
But then you have the opposite end of the spectrum wherein it's really niche stuff like, getting a tattoo or experiencing more than one sexual partner. And they aren't necessarily universal milestones, but they're there.
Migs is like, how about the 7-year gay relationship milestone? I don't think this is a thing. It borrows from straight culture about like the whole 7-year itch, and then therefore we try to make it significant also in queer relationships. But I don't think it's a universal experience.
I think it also feels a lot of times rooted to the need for an excuse as to why things happen, rather than facing the facts that you don't communicate.
Okay. Travis also laughed and just says he loves us. We love you too. Nikki's like, how about graduation from school? Because even then, I mean, it's definitely a milestone, but it's not a universal one, sadly, due to different circumstances. I mean, chief among them, opportunity due to finances and location and life.
Some people never even start. So
I mean, it's sad. It's definitely one of those big milestones that you hope everybody gets to experience, but not everybody does. Okay. You're in first marriage. I guess again, it's like for some will argue that marriage should only be once, but I guess it's still something to mark. But again, I think from the way we discussed the preamble, though, we're also trying to recognize that marriage isn't a requirement. So it's like it's a milestone in itself if you get married, but you don't have to get married. That's the modern conversation. Coming out is a milestone, says RJ, and I think that's an important thing, and it can take a long time for some people to come out, and some people will never feel like they have to. And again, it's one of those non-required things.
Yeah, but I feel though it is a milestone because choosing not to come out for me still feels like you'll eventually still have to, because you're choosing not to do something which is connected to accepting yourself. And I feel that you have to
you know, I
accept
mean,
yourself.
like the usual rhetoric around it is that I don't need to broadcast
Well,
it.
broadcast is different from coming out. There is a main difference, because coming out actually means, first and foremost, you're coming out to yourself. And then after that, you then may choose to share it with others. But, you know, the opposite of coming out is denying who you are. And at the most personal level, that is not something I would wish anyone to live on an extended basis.
Kenny, I hope you're saying this as a joke, but first breakdown. Because again, it's like with every one of those, it's not something you look forward to. I mean, it can happen, but for some people, it'll never happen, or at least not to a degree where they recognize it. So maybe not. I hope this is in jest. Travis is like, until he met the right person, he didn't travel. Wow, that's interesting to know. And I always felt you were quite the travel bug. But then now it's like, we want to travel and we can't. Such a pain. Pico shares his first drink was a margarita with bosses from other departments. And as you see, this is things that you remember, at least, especially if they're fun and like the way you remember these things.
And we've reached more than time.
Oh yeah! Hey! Oops! Careful your mouth. You're shaking your computer. Okay. Wow, Nikki's like, first time I got invited to a party as a child. Hey, that's interesting. That's like it's a bit of a niche thing, but yeah, first time getting invited to a friend's birthday party somewhere, even if it just happens to be at school. I mean, like, do people still have those, like, they're able to have cake delivered to school and they have a little thing during lunch?
So why don't we try to then come up with the list of possible milestones we could think of? Let's go chronological, as far as at least there's some structure in trying to talk about them. And whether or not they're niche experiences, we can explore our thoughts on each one.
Okay, I mean, like, yeah, that's something else to do.
Because right now we're just reacting to each one posting. But
yeah, because it's a lot of comments. It's kind of cool,
and it's really a topic that makes you think. Like when you try to think about it as a kid, wherein you don't really have any cares yet in the world. What would have been milestones you wish you were aware of when you were a kid? Like, I think as a kid, I would have wanted, like, one of my milestones would have been to realize that I am not required to hug and kiss everyone who shows up as a visitor in the house.
That's an interesting one. I don't know if that's a milestone or just an understanding you need to come with, like, because I was definitely not like a hugger. I did not approach people, especially if they were distant relatives or not within the first degree.
So what would you think would be initial milestone?
I think I just thinking about the whole kid thing reminded me of the first time you're entrusted with money. Whether it's allowance or something, or just buy something, but like you have money of your own,
and then you are told you can spend it however way you want.
Yes, that's a big deal. That's a very big deal, and it's an important step because you have to teach people, financial literacy somehow, and one of the key points is just letting them handle money. So that's something.
I guess then in that vein, we could actually include when you start to realize you can do chores without having to be told.
I don't know. It's important, but then some people never do. Or some people don't even have to do chores because you have house help. I mean, like, there are families like that. So I don't know. That's like a no-brainer for me, but like you should chores are chores, but yeah, it really depends. and then of course like those different school milestones. You know, finishing each chapter of school, graduating from each. That's definitely one. Maybe your first field trip is always exciting because you don't necessarily get to go to all of them. Your parents may not permit you, like mine.
Your
Had
first,
very strict parents.
your first crushes.
Your first overnight at a friend's, like being allowed to stay at someone else's house. That's like a little exciting. And what else?
Your first pet. If you ever
Oh.
have, basically becoming aware that you're taking care of someone else or something else.
Mitch shared a nice one. First time to ride a plane, which is like not the. It's like there's no age you can attach to this goal because sometimes you're a kid, sometimes you're not. But it's like it's a definitely a memorable experience. And again, not everybody gets to experience it, but I think majority at one point in time or another, hopefully, will get to try flying. That's cool. Okay. What else in the childhood range?
Yeah, it's always hard to. Well, I'm finding it hard to think of what, given it may or may not fall under niche. So, I'm not sure what else to contribute right now. First parties, first time you get in trouble with the law, whether it's because you did something or you're with a group that did something and nadamay ka.
The law, I guess, just authority. But it like I don't know. It's like, yeah. I mean, like I then I wonder like, so we have negative milestones. We have like trouble milestones that happen, which is sort of like the whole or the earlier one about first breakdown. I'm like, okay, you know, what else? Looking at I'm super behind on the comment stuff. Oh, that's an interesting one. RJ mentions opening a bank account, which, for some is a childhood milestone, but for some it's like only most people open a bank account because of employment. So it's a good example of like it can happen anywhere. Definitely.
And I guess for some that becomes the first instance to experience having to go through bureaucracy.
Oh yeah, filling up forms and like trying to figure out your signature.
Or suddenly realizing, what, I have to go back because I don't have the photo. Or
man, my first signature was like really silly. Like I think I even had a star in my name, but this is because I opened a bank account like in the second or third grade. It was super early. It's like I pooled my Christmas money and opened an account.
My signature is still from the way back one. Hence, it's that weird way, which I'm so tired of and I want to change, but I'm so used to writing it that way.
Mine now is just writing my name very quickly. Okay. And he was asking about insurance.
I do not have insurance.
I think insurance agents want this to be a milestone, but admittedly, not everybody needs to get insurance. I mean, like there are different financial instruments out there for you to explore to generate more income. So it really depends.
Here's a nice one from Nick. First time to be the one to give a gift.
Oh, that's lovely. And where is that? I'm trying to flash it on the screen.
It's like in the latter part. But for some that happens because they were able to create something and I made this for you. But for others, it becomes because I can now buy you stuff. And there's that feeling of being able to do it. There's that sense of agency.
Oh wow, weird. Sorry, I got distracted. Carlton asked, "Is that a Jamaican flag behind you?" No, it's a rainbow. Oh, sorry, over here. It's a rainbow flag. It's very not Jamaican. Okay. Because like first time to donate to charity, and that can happen at any time.
Does church count?
Yeah. I mean, it's still a charity. Everyone offertory comes along,
because you're like your parents will always sneak you money to put in the offertory box, and you'd be like, and then you pull out your own. Oh
yeah, so it's like again, it's like that sense of you're giving on your own. So that's kind of cool. Oh wow, Kenny's like first time he cooked for someone else. So that's cool, and I wish more people learn how to cook early. I didn't. I super didn't learn how to cook early.
Pico says no real charity, not the mass ones. So Pico, are you saying church collections are not real charity?
Okay. I'm looking at what other first. Yeah. So Karen also mentioned first having a pet, and then Nick is like first surgery. I mean, like it's one of those like, yeah, I guess. So whether it's first surgery or first confinement,
Actually, you can think of it as you have your first surgery, but you also have a different milestone for the first surgery you're consciously aware of. Because some of us do go through our first surgery as a kid and we don't remember it.
because of circumcision, or just you're just
too
young.
young to remember it. Like
That's true.
I have very vague memories of the stitches I have on my head, but I don't really remember all the details. And so it's stuff like that.
Okay. So like then from anything from the school years we want to cover. Oh wow, Karen had one. First best friend or barkada.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
That's cool.
That's
like
a cool one.
like I recently reconnected on social with my first like school age best friend. And it's just very interesting. Like we're very different people now than we used to be, but it's nice to reconnect. So yeah, you remember these things.
Yeah, I realized that a number of the people who I saw as my best friends way back in the early years, I have no idea what they do now. And I cannot even identify when I slipped or switched to the next best friend.
Yeah. Okay. Curry's like first adult responsibility successfully done.
Yeah.
And that's like vague, but yeah, I can apply it to many things. It's it's that trust, that responsibility.
That could be the
being given.
chores related, or that could be handling, taking care of the pets.
It could be an errand, like when you're sent to the bank to deposit something, and like, ooh, that's kind of big. You know, I mean, these are quirky things that we may or may not have to do. Wow, that's a weird question. Who is this Carlton? Is asking for a brother? No, we are boyfriends. We are life partners.
But
Thanks
it's so
for
nice
joining.
to have you on our show,
Yeah.
on our 102nd episode.
That Travis brings up his first relationship, remembers it being someone into online gaming. That's cool. Kenny clarifying, is circumcision the first surgery? Technically, it is a surgical procedure that a lot of people go through, but again, is not required. It's not it's not a mandatory thing. But in a predominantly, well, in a quote unquote predominantly Catholic country like ours, it's statistically likely you will have to go through it.
And even the fact that you view it as the first surgery can be said to be a misnomer because you still cut the umbilical cord.
But is that surgery on you or your mom? Because first big purchase, and I wonder, and I'm sure big is relative. I mean, like, everybody will qualify it in different ways.
Yes,
it could be
course.
spending something over 1,000 pesos. That's already big for someone, especially in younger years.
Mhm.
Or it could be like the first time you purchased something on installment with your credit card. If you had a credit card,
And I think there is the challenge of scale,
economic scaling.
also in terms of time, because like what was 1,000 during my childhood was immensely huge compared to what's 1,000 now.
That's true.
Because now you have kids who get allowance and they're given like 2,000 for the week, and that's like mid or low range. But in my time, allowance 100 pesos was the allowance.
That's huge. That's crazy.
And it's that sort of thing. So
Nikki's like, first time you realize you don't have to be Catholic, or in any case that you don't have to automatically follow the religion you were born into. When you make a conscious choice in your belief system and what you want to follow, that's cool. I mean, like, I now know people who are outright polytheistic, and like, okay, that is a different path in life. What else? Let me clear that caption. Okay, so then beyond that, I'll never find it again. But things like, so later on when you get so there's your first job, but there's also the first time you change jobs.
Yes.
Which is an interesting thing, or whether it's the first time you change jobs or the first time you quit.
And it has all that baggage of it being so new, because it's not like you go to school and you're taught how to change your jobs, right? But then there's so much weight on how to do it right, because it affects how people will look at you professionally when they talk about how you left.
Yes.
So it's a very stressful stressful thing to go through alone.
Yeah, I don't want to just be like movie style, like, oh, I quit, and where's my box where I get to put my plant? You know, resignation is not like that.
Or in my case, I remember when I was resigning, I felt like I was failing them.
yeah,
And it was such a, I'm so sorry, I have to resign. And they're like, oh, it's okay. I'm like, oh, no, I feel bad.
Oh, Kenny shares for a childhood milestone, commuting without supervision, commuting on your own. And I love. It's always interesting how commuting has unintentional, specific nuance in the Philippines because it means taking public transportation.
It also, however, is a reflection of social status.
Mm.
Because for many in the lower ranges, it's a fact of life.
That they have to do it sooner.
There was never a point of I'll have to learn to commute.
That's true.
Because they had nothing but commuting as the only way of transport other than walking. Whereas for others, they got so used to being driven around and stuff. So commuting is that baptism of fire moment.
But then, finally, we gotta, I must remind everyone, commuting just means traveling from one place to another. It does not mean taking public transport.
Yes.
So, but in the Philippines, when you say commuting, it means taking public transport. Isn't that interesting? It's like how we have so many terms for rice. Okay. Jed's like first time in Manila, which again I think is a uniquely like provincial reference.
Well, I guess to make it more generic then.
First time in the big city.
Yeah, first time to go to the big city. I mean, it could be something like you live at home. I mean, you're at home more often than not, and then to go to Makati for the first time, or to go to QC for the first time.
Like, funny, I was going to say when you're in QC going to Makati, but then vice versa.
And
also.
if you're looking out and seeing all those buildings, and there's that, wow, that's what a building looks like, and yeah, that's a moment.
So Nikki's like he had the leaving first job thing and he was expecting the boxes in more drama. We all have these like conceptions for things. No, Nikki, really think about it, because we have just the basic is like there's bigas and kanin. We have a term for uncooked rice versus cooked rice. We have bahaw, which is old rice in the fridge,
and then we have the different kinds of rice, the malagkit, I forgot the terms for the others.
Yeah, and then in English, it's all just rice. So,
but that's how it is. Like just like how I forgot who, but they have different words for ice, and then you have Okay, I will keep quiet now.
Ha! Because like when he left his first job, they kept trying to stop him, but they can't even give him projects. So yeah, that's a tricky thing. Jed mentioned like he meant for after college for work or for good. I mean, like, but again, it's like, but I guess colloquially, all of Metro Manila is Manila. So even if you never leave Parañaque, you're still in quote unquote Manila.
So what would be milestones to aspire for or to aim for?
Then I think that then it's things like, well, the one is like definitely international travel. That's like something that people would hope to happen eventually.
I'd include own stuff that you are passionate about.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll leave it that blank, whether it's geeky stuff or whether it's the car you always wanted or those overly expensive shoes that you really want to get. I mean, to be able to reach a point where you can go for.
Oh. We are frozen.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
If you can see us, let us know.
Oh, no. Of course, I got a notification. Okay, it seems we're back. Are we back? Are we back? Yeah, your hands are dancing earlier. Please comment if we are back, because we seem to have frozen for a moment. Yeah, Kenny does share. He lost you guys for a bit, but you guys are back now. Yay!
Yeah, okay, we're fully up.
And that's a milestone when you do a live stream show. Survive at this connection.
Woo!
Yeah.
Nikki mentions first promotion, which is cool. Yeah, then it really means like you stayed in a job long enough to have an opportunity to move up.
But I would include to that as a milestone would be to ask for a promotion.
That's aspirational,
because
right?
not everyone thinks they can do that.
Because, and then, to be fair, and I encounter this a lot. A lot of people think that, or a lot of early people working think that if I do a good job, I will get recognized and they will identify me for promotion. And then you will see person after person go by you as they get promoted and not you. But it's because there is a large factor of eventually you must ask for promotion. You must seek it out.
And the thing about promotions, which is why it's not automatically given, because promotions means more responsibility. And because you're doing good, that's recognized, which is why there are increases sometimes in your rate.
Yeah, but they will just give you more work because you do your work well.
And at the same time, that still means you are within that level of responsibility. So there is only so far that will go. Until you are willing to say, you know, I'm willing to, I feel I want to challenge myself and manage people, or I think I can handle more projects and this and that. They will not bring you to that point, because if they bring you there and you aren't ready, everyone's
gonna fail. Yeah, then you're gonna want to, you know, then either you'll get a bad review, people will leave because you're doing a bad job, the people under you, or
you'll consider changing jobs. Because unfortunately, in the workplace, there is no such thing as take back seats. You can't go, oh, can I just be demoted again? Because I realize I don't want to manage people.
Yeah,
that doesn't work.
It doesn't really work out well for you, especially with like the things, the legal stuff.
Jed has first time to DJ at O-Bar.
That's a very specific milestone. Dare I say a goal, but we're happy you did, and we miss you spinning.
That's true.
Career change can be like a promotion in a way, or to says Pico. That's true though.
Some approach it as that they will, you know, they'll just keep jumping jobs because whenever they jump a job, they can ask for a bigger rate. And
well, but if we pick apart the term career change, it could mean also like when you change industries or tracks, like you're always doing design, then you get into writing, or you're always doing execution, you want to get into strategy. Sorry, these are very corporate examples. Thank you. This is my day job.
Yeah. So other milestones, I would say, learn to cook.
Learning to cook, that's nice. I mean, like even if it's as basic as frying.
Yeah, in as much as chores, we're all taught to do chores. I think it's a milestone that everyone should really aspire for, is to learn to cook, even if it's something as simple as basic frying. But later on, you progress to whether it's grilling, broiling, baking, etc.
Yeah, so it's really like providing for your own sustenance and taking care of that, and not just ordering out all the time, even when you live on your own. And that's another milestone in itself, is moving out.
Yes,
when you decide to move out and live on your own, or with friends, or with roommates, whatever. But breaking free from the nest. And some people don't ever want to do this, so that's okay.
And admittedly, you know, compounds, they don't count.
What do you mean compounds?
You have your own house. But it's part
your
of the main family house.
When you're in adjacent townhouses in a complex,
that doesn't count yet. Only because you still feel the safety net, and you don't feel like you're handling everything.
Therefore, in true Baduy pride fashion, we must celebrate first time to do your own laundry.
Yes.
And I
don't do it well.
And no, this does not include having other people wash your clothes, but like actually washing your clothes themselves with the sub achievement. It's nested under this, not that it's below, but that's what I mean by sub. Sorry, I'm like, I don't know words. Is first time to hand wash your clothes. Dun, dun, dun. It's a unique skill. It's so difficult. And in this life, you wish that you never have to do hand washing. Machine washing is the best. I'm glad that we now have like laundromat style services, in the sense that it's a bunch of machines and you can use the machines on your own.
That's where I learned first when I was in LA. Karen has a nice one. First time to host a party or gathering.
Oh, that's
a good
beautiful.
One. That's a good one.
And that's like, and sometimes it's like when you're when you're with family, when you're living with family and you can host an event at home, or when you're living on your own and you're hosting your first event in your own space.
And there's that transition for that. I mean, as a kid, when you're in a family thing and they say, "Oh, sige, ikaw mag-host," the mindset tends to be host like show host. So you have your script and you're telling them this event, that event. You know, Tracy will sing and then Kuya will present ganyan because
Yeah.
you're a host. But then as you get older and you realize hosting a party at home, it could literally be just make sure that there's food, make sure there's ice, and then everyone else can do what they want.
Yeah, the definition of like hosting a party changes over time, and depending on the people you've invited, you know, there's something that obligation of like I want to introduce everyone to everyone else, and that is a lot of work. That we just do that at Obar sometimes for like when we have birthday celebrations, and just constantly introducing everyone to everyone else is like a drinking game. Because you keep trying to remember everyone, and then you drink, and then someone else arrives, and oh, hi, and then this.
Carlton has an interesting question.
Our
Yes.
guest, oh, yeah, well, okay, technically I am Toby's by,
Mhm.
but yeah,
But
hence
but
the flag,
but
that
the-
is not Jamaican.
it's not Jamaican,
Yay.
and hence the word pride in the name of the show.
Yes. So, but hey, thanks for joining.
Yeah, and thanks for asking.
Yeah. It's good to clarify. Okay. Other item. So,
Um,
and Kenny's like sub item of you're the newbie in the workplace and you're asked to manage the company party. That's like that's a different kind of hosting altogether. Karen, like first time to vote. Ooh,
oh, that's good.
that's a nice milestone and a good thing to remember.
And I
in
feel it should
coming
be,
elections.
and it should be one that's universal.
Mm.
I know voting might not seem important to some people, but well, that's why 2020 is the way it is.
Yeah.
So let's vote.
Make the most in 2022.
Huh.
Everybody should vote. Okay. Mitch is like cooking your first rice.
Oh, that I remember going through the and I think that's like two phases.
Oh yeah, there's two levels. There's first rice cooker rice.
Yes, cooking with a rice cooker,
And
then,
for cooking without.
oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Although oddly, my first time to cook rice was neither. I cooked in a
In a bamboo.
in a bamboo.
That sounds very
chute.
CATROTC.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, for me, it was like, I mean, there was always like learning to cook rice at home. And then that's when I first learned things like whether it's the finger measure or the peaks of Mount Fiji
Mhm.
or 1:2 cups, depending on the stuff. But
And
then cooking on the stove, man.
And then it's different depending on the rice. If it's brown, suddenly math changes.
oh, it takes so much water and all these things. Yeah, so that's fun. Again, nuances of the Philippine
and that
experience.
rice has to be washed.
Yes, washing rice, but not with soap. Nikki's milestone now is realizing there are many terms for rice. That was earlier in the stream.
Okay.
Okay.
Online, I think
Karen mentioned, sorry, female specific, your first period.
yes.
Yes, that is a
Which
thing.
I think we have to count it, and it's not often referenced.
It's 50% of the population.
No, but in terms of for men, there's also the first random boner.
Oh,
Because admittedly, it can be freaky
it can be freaky.
to have it wake up, and you're like, why?
Yeah, that is true. I wish I could even. I don't know if you could even cite like first wet dream.
The first nocturnal emission.
Yes,
That was also a panic moment, I remember.
I never had that
Mine
because I learned to deal with it early.
Mine was weird because it was a dream of seeing Steven Seagal,
Oh wow!
who was never my crush.
Ooh wow! Steven Seagal under siege. Ooh.
But he was all sweaty, muscular, telling me to do something. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh my God. Boom. Yes.
Okay. Other stuff. Professional. I mean, so like we're.
Yeah, I was thinking of online milestones.
What do you mean online?
Creating your first email account.
Oh wow, that's such a that's such a modern
Because
thing,
people
but
think
it's
it's now
true.
so normal, but there is that panic moment of staring at that blank and saying username. What's a good username? And it takes so long to think of that first good username.
Although a lot of times now it's like the college or university experience for many includes an email address now.
Mhm.
Isn't that freaky? Like
Mhm.
you're given an email and then you have no choice. That's your email.
Mhm. But then it still has that moment of creating your first email.
Yeah. So creating your first and like deciding, are you zero cool 89? Will you put your birthday in your username? Please don't.
Will you make an alias and then struggle to remember it later on?
Is your age attached to your email, which thus ties to how old you were when you made your email? Oh my god, I had email addresses that were attached to my class number. Like because in uh high school is a block section, so we
Mhm.
roughly were the same people year after year, unless they flunked out. So my class number kind of stuck for the most part. So it was interesting.
Yeah, I
Um,
still remember my LaSalle number.
Wow, and now it's like yes, the corollary is creating your first social media presence. So it doesn't have to necessarily be just Facebook or Twitter or whatever. So, people explore different platforms, and then that becomes determining
Yes.
your online identity.
And then a milestone would be your first online purchase.
Yeah, because it's always terrifying.
Yes.
For some, it's just like game stuff, DLC. I mean, like it may not be as big now. Like I purchased a coin in my game.
And it's such a layered accomplishment because to do that online purchase, that means you finally have uh, a way to pay online.
That's true.
Whether it's digital payments or credit card.
Or a debit card attached to your savings account.
And then that means you also finally created an account in that place where you'll buy something. So it's that double levels of that.
Karen's said for us, it used to be first time to use the internet. That's
Yes.
true. Well, to be fair, it's still I think now it's like still a milestone for people. Like when they first get online and really think about it and not just think about it as like another channel to watch. What's this? Ooh, this is very dramatic. First failure or defeat.
Mhm. That's big. That's actually big.
Yeah, and hopefully a lot of it happens in school and like because it's again one of those negative milestones, but it's also a very important, humbling experience. It teaches you that you need to work for stuff that it doesn't always happen your way.
Amos shares messaging on a dating platform for the first time.
Oh, that's a modern thing.
Yeah, and it's a different layer of compared to just communicating online. To open up and be that vulnerable.
Yeah.
To take that gamble of oh my gosh, I hope he answers. Or
And the non-digital version, which is asking someone out for the first time.
Mhm.
Mitch, getting your first white hair.
The question which I think people should always think about when it comes to that milestone is where did it come out?
But to be fair, like I know I had a lot of batchmates like in our school years who already had white hair.
Exactly.
Right.
But where did it come out first?
Well, I can only speak to the hair on top of their head. Other than that, I don't know. Okay. Kenny's like your first dating app match. Wow, that's like that's like that's our life now. I have never been on a match based dating app, so I don't know what this experience is like. That's interesting.
Since this is the Philippines, we have to add first time that you got held up.
Oh, Nikki nicely rewinds and reminds us of the fist kiss. First kiss. He means first kiss. But yeah, your first kiss or first intimate moment with someone else, regardless of gender, that's always a big,
or did you
it could be a big
name
deal.
your fist as your first kiss?
Mhm.
Good hand. Good hand.
That's very rom-com. Like I practice kissing on my hand. Yeah, Kenny shares his first. The first guy he matched with was also his first date. Good for you, because there are some people who match and never talk, as I understand it. And Nikki has now realized the fist kiss.
We need a shirt for that.
Fish kiss.
um,
And its friend Fish Kiss.
what else? What else? See, now I'm even thinking stuff like stuff that's beyond your control, but are milestones because you finally experienced it. Like,
First bagyo.
yeah, exactly. Your first earthquake.
First earthquake. Ooh.
And
first time to tweet about the earthquake.
or first time to have to do the what's this? When the building's asked to empty out because
First evacuation.
yes, for any reason. Because that has that, wait, what's going on? What's happening? Why are we all, oh my God, we're going down the stairs. Oh my God, what's going to happen?
Amos was mentioning first time drinking. Yeah, we kind of touched on that earlier. And Nikki is still reacting to Fiscus. Fiscus. Okay. Karen's like first pubes. Or I guess puberty in general. Like first signs of puberty is how we can talk about it.
I remember having a friend who like was super late in puberty. Well, super late in pubes.
Oh, okay. That's very specific knowledge to have of a friend.
Because he was always, so meron ka na ba? I'm like, yeah, why? Wala pa rin eh. I'm like, what?
It's like first armpit hair. I remember like in school where like when you change for PE, you change in the classroom. And that was our context. And so you'd see everybody shirtless at one point or another. And then there's really that point of, some of us don't have armpit hair yet. And then it's like, by the end of high school, some of us still don't have armpit hair. It's just funny. Nikki shares the Tomasha milestone of first stranding, which I guess applies to everybody in New Belt.
Yeah, I was about to say that applies for LaSalle too.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, a lot of schools have first stranding.
The first time to be stranded due to a storm and have to stay overnight.
First haunting?
Interesting. I think it's very Filipino as well. Because the Philippines has a very strong belief in ghosts and the supernatural, even in an urban setting.
This is my nephew going,
Unless you mean, Nick, it's the first time you're haunting someone.
because there's also first ghosting.
And then when you see them, boo.
Wow, Mitch is like very biologically focused. So after her first white hair suggestion, first pimple.
Oh my God, yes. That's a milestone. Do you remember where your first pimple was?
No. It was on my face.
Mine was on the nose.
Oh, wow.
Mine was like...
That's classic. That's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Amos is like, oh, that's a good one. First time shaving, which can apply to men and women. But yeah, I know I made such a big deal out of it. I made my stepdad teach me to shave and not my biological father. I was super like, I want to give this moment to him and not to my biological father.
I was a peculiar kid, so I was practicing.
No duh.
Early. I'd get cotton, and then I'd place it on my chest.
Oh my God, this is dangerous.
And then
don't try this at home, kids.
And then I'd get a razor, but it's still covered. It's not open.
Okay.
And then I'd be like, letting go of the cotton, so it's flowing. And I'm like, shaving.
Okay, stupid life hack moment. My grandmother, because in car upholstery, it tends to gather like weird.
Okay, now I'm worried where this is going.
Car upholstery tends to gather like weird, like
small hairs and stuff.
Lint ball, whatever.
Yeah.
Like this harder fibers that just gather, particularly on cotton-based car upholstery.
Yes.
So she would keep a disposable razor, like a cheap Bic razor, and she would shave the seats.
Yes.
We would shave the seats to take the little balls out. Like, oh, so my first shaving experience, other than my face, was shaving the chair. I was just reminding when you brought up your whole cotton ball experience. Curves is like shaving where, yes, for some, it is a milestone everywhere.
And it's a milestone with different faces. So there was shave the face, and then a few years later, shaved other areas. And then a few years later, shaved other areas without them hurting.
Shave some of it, shave all of it, never shave again. No. Kenny shares the whole, they believe like the first pimple placement has meaning. It could be your first crush and things like that. I've heard like weird stories like this. Wow. Oh, Nikki's mention of his first pimple happened during chickenpox or measles, but in itself, our weird life milestones is when you go
Chickenpox.
through chickenpox or measles or mumps,
Yes.
which I have not had measles or mumps yet. I've only had chickenpox.
And that's why vaccines work.
Yes. Okay. Kenny's like first time to shave someone else.
I'm always afraid to do that.
I have done this to some degree.
But it's always scary. There's always that. I don't know. It's always scary to do that.
Yeah. The shave in the face. And Nikki just rewatched at least watched the movie version of Sweeney Todd. So yes, we all a shave in the face. Oh yeah, so Nikki's complication was because of the chickenpox. Didn't know he was already having acne.
Yes, I was
That's
about to
fair.
say it sounds like that would have happened.
Oh, my challenge is that like I don't know if it's
show off
visible.
myself.
No, it's not that. It's that I have skin asthma.
Show off myself.
No, I'm not gonna. Spring
Flex,
noodle hat.
flex,
Don't do that.
Flex.
I used to have very bad skin asthma. So even before I ever had acne, I had skin asthma all over my arms. So they looked like little whiteheads or pimples, but they're not the same. And so which began a lifelong concern about wearing sleeveless things. So this is also why I'm always wearing.
You'll get there. You're gonna start wearing sleeveless.
Oh my god! It's just David was like asking me. I've never really seen you in a V-neck. I'm like, I have a few, but yeah, even that I feel very conscious about it.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Karen shares first time to watch porn,
Or at least to interact with porn, because for many of us in our generation, it meant reading porn, like a magazine
or worse, newspapers.
Ooh,
Those tabloids.
Curve shares to the group. Shaving someone else can be scary, but it's fulfilling sometimes. I will take your word for it. Okay. Another modern thing. First time to have a phone. Wow. Before it used to be first time to have a pager.
Yes, I was about to say phones have gotten so commonplace that it's a bit of a surprise sometimes when you see your younger nephews and they're like,
they have phones already.
And tablets, and you're like, wait a minute.
I barely had a phone until like college, and that was my life. I didn't have but in high school I had a pager.
Nikki shares first maintenance medication.
That's a concern. It's valid. I mean, and for many, the lowest barrier for many is asthma. Many kids end up needing to carry around inhalers. So
that's true.
Flash fact, guys. I barely used my inhaler this entire year. I am amazed. Yay, even fitness progress.
And even the year before that.
My usage has been diminishing
ever since
you
started keto. There's been a huge decrease in you using your inhaler.
Yeah. So like I've been definitely zero maintenance meds this year for asthma. So none of the long-term medication stuff, and then no inhaler for attacks because it means no attacks. So
I'm your inhaler. So,
wow.
So that's a milestone, getting to know Toby.
Oh my God, Jed's like first. Yeah, you need to get twin tank tops. Oh my God, I don't know.
Jed. Well, send us the photos of you two wearing it, so we'll consider if we'll get it.
Okay, we now have Pico and Nikki reacting to newspapers. Yes, porn. Guys.
Abante.
Even those things, and then of course you go all the way off to, a lot of the tabloids are like really racy, and like you will, it's not gay porn.
And bear in mind that was the era. Well, their heyday, at least for us, was the era when internet wasn't really a porn-friendly place.
Nikki cites first time to buy a computer, which I think can overlap with first big purchase sometimes for yourself. Amos is like, medyo sectarian, but a first confession. Well, again, majority Catholic country, we can't get away from going through the rites, even though like you don't always have a choice.
Yeah, I don't recall my first confession.
But it should have happened before your first communion.
Yeah.
They make you do it.
And I remember there were lists involved in the earlier years.
Lists?
Yeah, we had to like
list out your sins. Oh, you have to prepare.
Yes.
Examination of conscience.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So I remember there was a lot of that.
Oh wow, everybody! Thank you for congratulating me for my asthma progress. And then Kenny's like, used to be seasonal. This is my asthma season. The cold time. This is supposed to be my asthma season.
Now I just get cold. Hence.
Oh my god. Mitch, like first ER visit. Oh, that's valid. That's still different from first like confinement.
Yeah.
Because it's different to like get confined versus like being rushed to the hospital and not knowing what to do.
And then the next level to that is first ER visit where you have to make the choices.
Oh,
That's big.
that's heavy.
But
That's heavy.
but it's a when that happens, it's suddenly a whoa, wait.
When you first time to make medical decisions for someone else.
Yeah. That's tough.
That is tough. It's a big deal. And I wish you don't have to do it, but it happens.
And there's no way to prepare for it. No way to prepare for it.
Nikki tried to pivot because of the newspaper thing, and just like his first exposure was clicking through older siblings' cable. Wow, that's a very
that's interesting.
specific experience.
Did you ever have the experience of trying to order porn through cable?
No, because cable was a late thing in life, and then porn came on VHS tapes.
I did.
Oh my
When I
god.
was in the States.
Oh my god.
So it was something I conspired with my cousins.
Okay.
And we both panicked when we realized we didn't know how to turn it off.
It just unlocks. Congratulations, there's your porn.
So we were tense.
Because that was like subscribing to a channel. It could have been just
Yeah.
purchasing a movie, but it could have been subscribing to a channel.
Yes.
Ooh.
And we were like
Ooh.
for 1 week always nervous whenever anyone was turning the TV on. And we were like
Jed shares first time in drag. And to be fair, at first I was thinking this is a little niche, but no, when you think about it, there's also like a lot of like cross dressing that happens for the sake of costumes.
and yeah, drag is that broad. That
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean drag to perform. It could literally mean just
Dressing as a female character.
And many have gone through that as part of like growing up and having
School
fun,
pageants
or
plays.
or even as odd as it may sound, team building exercises.
That's true. That's true. Mitch is like first time to drink coffee. This is definitely out there with first time to drink, and like I will recognize that not everybody has to. But as someone who has been having coffee since he's been like 2 or 3 years old, but that was like dipping my bread in it. But yes, it's
Or
it's
first
a
time
thing.
to compete, whether it's
first
sports,
time to be in a
or
competition
join a contest or submit something and hope it will pass, to the very last trying to get that job. But there's that I'm doing my best, let's hope it'll work.
Yeah, that was like, oh my gosh. When I was first made to do like a declamation elocution contest in school, that was nerve-wracking. It killed me every time. But then mom just like, do it.
Yeah, my first elocution was prep.
Mine, like, to be fair, I didn't have anything in prep because I think we really didn't have any in prep. So grade 1, I had interpretative. I forgot if it was elocution first or interpretative reading. It was interpretative reading and then elocution, and then it alternated because you can't. It was a weird school rule that you couldn't compete in the same event
Yes.
year after year.
To make sure there were other transfers.
Yeah,
for
so
people.
I would alternate between interpretative reading and elocution.
Nick shared first time to buy clothes for yourself, which I think we can expand to first time to make purchases in a way that allowed you to express yourself more. Yeah. It doesn't have to be clothes. It could be, I want this haircut.
I want a custom band for my swatch.
Or your parents see you and like, why are your jeans so low? And you're like,
this is me, mom. This is me. I want a chain for my wallet.
you don't understand me. Which is true in most cases, but in other cases they just do and they don't, and they know what face this is. They just question your choices.
Oh, it hasn't come up here, but then Kenny shares like first for people who grew up in the city, first time to visiting family in the province. That's an interesting like Filipino experience. I don't. So then I feel envious because I don't like have family. I never really had like family actually based in the province.
Yeah.
We visited my grandma's family farm, which is like, ooh, that's kind of bourgeois, and then they owned a farm. But
in my case, it was a lot of fake province feelings because
Because you already lived in the province, because you were in Parañaque, no?
Exactly. Parañaque was a province at that time, but of course it still was developing, so it still felt more like a city. And then the closest was Laguna, Batangas, but that's because that's where my dad studied.
Mm.
And then beyond that, it was a lot of provinces we visited because of my dad's work back then in the DNR and all that.
Mm.
So it felt like I was going to the province, but it wasn't my province.
Mm. Okay. I like Nikki, of course, is like 90s to 90s ang fashion rebellion. I had a chain, guys. I had a chain on my wallet.
Oh, I went through piercings.
Ooh.
And I didn't get to the point of eyeliner, but I did have black lipstick.
You're so goth. Okay. Mitch shares first time to ride a bike or rollerblade or scooter or technically a roller skate.
And
that's
first
true.
time to fall from that.
Which is like part of the learning experience. Oh my gosh. What? I'm trying to understand this one.
Realizing
Art
art contests aren't only dove in hand.
What does that mean? When I say dove in hand, hawk and bird. Sorry. Kenny's like,
A dove in hand, the saying.
but it's a bird in the hand is worth
Yeah.
two in the bush.
Yeah, I think.
But
it's
how does
saying.
that connect? Okay. Karen's like first live concert or gig.
Mm.
That's cool. That's like nice.
And that's it always has that scary moment of oh my god, what's gonna happen? And then
Guys-
you're lost in the concert.
But guys, my first live concert was Boyzone because my grandmother wanted to watch and she bought tickets for all of us to watch with her.
Sorry,
So
it's
I,
all that
so
you
I
can say.
so I didn't get to choose my first concert. My first concert was a family thing.
I think my first concert was a family thing too, because my parents did want us to see a lot of stuff. So there were orchestral stuff. There was the Michael Jackson concert. There were family friends who did have concerts.
Mm.
So yeah.
Ooh, first big fight with a friend or someone else.
Oh, I remember this major fight in the childhood years of me getting angry with some friends because I thought they were indulging in drugs. And I was all angry and huffed up and all that. And I think a few days later I came back and I apologized. And yeah.
Realizing Santa Claus isn't real, which I now have to appreciate. This is still a cultural thing for countries that have Santa Claus or not, because not every family now. I think more and more there are a lot of modern families who don't want to do Santa Claus because they don't want to lie to their kids.
Others just don't want to be obligated to spend extra gifts on their kids every year.
Others want credit for the gifts they give. It's like my discussion with my sister. If we give them something, he's gonna know it's from us.
Mm.
But also because I'm now experiencing, because I have family based in Singapore, Santa Claus is not a thing in Singapore.
Mhm.
To believe in Santa is irregular, and so it could be he'd be probably subjected to ridicule if he had a Santa Claus experience. But then for me, I figured out who Santa Claus was, and that it bit me in the butt. Like, because then it was like that next year, it's like I got to choose my gift from Santa,
Mhm.
and then it wasn't magical anymore because I knew what it was. I open it, and then like I want to go back to like I just don't want to know. I don't want to know what you're gonna give me. Yeah. Mitch shares again. First time I have a pet. Yeah, we brought this up. Nikki's trying to explain. Yung sumasali sa art contest always include an image of a dove and hand on them. Wow, I've never heard of this.
Oh yeah, I think I get you. In school, that is a very common image that is presented whenever you want something that has meaning. There's always a hand with a bird or a hand with leaves or a...
Kenny tries to help. Is this also what Nikki meant by fist kiss? The hand now is in the painting.
So the hand is holding the bird and then you're...
First time to go camping. The CR issue. I have never gone camping.
I think
I was never a
Okay.
Boy Scout.
Okay, Mitch, I think we can break this down to two. We have first time to go camping, meaning you have to stay outside and outdoors And then the second is to use a CR that you have no control on its cleanliness or quality. And you have to use it.
The second one is more likely to happen and is more traumatic than camping. I think.
And that can be an out of town trip. That can be
on the road,
Yeah.
and you're at a pit stop.
and then you have to do number 2 and you're like, oh god, but I can't hold it anymore.
Man, that's very. And I will cite an old movie, but very train spotting.
Mhm.
Right, very train spotting.
But it's everything from learning to take a dump without ever sitting down to to all the other stunts you will discover.
But yeah, funnily, I've never gone camping because, like in the second grade, when we start having organization clubs. Sorry, there were clubs in grade school. When we have clubs in school, I joined the writing club, and then it began a long tradition of joining nerdy clubs. I was in writing. I was in the speech club.
Mhm.
Then the debate club in high school. So yay. Jed now is offering to go camping. I'm really not a camping.
Jed will
I
only
need technology.
Jed will only agree if within 10 yards there is a working clean bathroom with a bidet.
I can live without the bidet. I'll bring a tabo.
Yeah, tabo is still acceptable.
Yes, that's
But
roughing it.
running water
Tabo.
must be present.
Yeah. Ooh. Karen trauma, peeing in your pants. Yeah, having a bathroom, having a accident.
Mhm.
Nikki's now trying to defend. So Fiskus is now fight with a friend because you kiss with your fists. This is still Fiskus for me. Mwah. Amy shares an old relative who associates her with spoiling who Santa was and siblings. Oh, for us, for like me and my sister, we super kept up the Santa illusion as long as possible for our younger brother because we enjoyed Santa so much. We wanted him to enjoy Santa. It was like, yeah, we're all gonna work together for this to happen.
Me, I know I confused my sister.
Oh, why?
I started adding an extra Santa day. So my parents were like, and me, I was like, just quiet.
Toby, it never ends with you. I keep learning all these stories of your childhood, and then I wonder, how are we together? Oh man. Okay. Other.
Let's go latter years. So we've gone through adulthood. We've gone through. So now you're an older, mature adult.
I hope so.
So you have, of course, a milestone of dealing with the death of a loved one, which means the paperwork and the responsibilities, the affairs. You'll have paying taxes.
Having a bill in your name. Your first bill in your name, whether it's your phone bill, your internet bill, I don't know.
Yes.
Your first bill in your name.
Then will include having to deal with authority.
But not the authority, like, Midnighter.
So like, whether it's at immigration, the next thing you know, they'll ask you questions and you're like, oh my God. Because before you'll have parents who do the talking and you're just there. Or worse, you're in a foreign country and you do something wrong and the cops are now trying to explain to you why you're going to get arrested and you're like, I'm a tourist, I'm sorry. Getting lost.
It's like, I think sooner or later, despite this age of GPS on your phone, you can still get lost.
And then, yeah, even with GPS, sometimes you will get lost because the maps and the markers don't necessarily...
Or just mapping out Philippine commuting. It's like, you'll still get lost sooner or later. Okay, that's cool. Kenny mentioned first long-term investment, which I think can also tie to sometimes that first long-term investment is just building up to your first big purchase. So that's cool.
Being asked to be Ninong.
Oh.
Because that's a moment of, what? I'm Ninong level na?
I always felt awkward when like office mates were like, and this is like goes back to like my first my BPO career time, and like office mates making other people Ninong, and like we're not that close. It's like, no, I just take it like, if you really want me to be your godparent, it's very serious. It's like me fending off people saying they want to be our kids. It's like, this is a very serious statement. So I know I'm officially like Ninong for, well, these days now it's like I know there's one office kid because I'm management, so I think that's gonna happen sooner or later. But then of course my nephew, who I will super fight for, and then we're gonna see what's gonna happen next.
Yeah. And then I guess
Who are you
um,
Ninong for?
oh, there's a bunch, but I haven't really been thinking.
Oh, that's true. Ooh,
Yeah, I
ooh.
haven't been in touch.
Okay. And I sorry, totally tangent. I always it's just weird for me also because for me I never really felt my ninong and ninang.
Hmm.
Like always people always joke about that you're supposed to get Christmas gifts from them and stuff. And growing up, that was not my experience. I didn't even know who they were until like I had to fill out my baptism. I had to dig up my baptism paperwork for first communion, and then I see that oh these are my godparents. I didn't know that. So guys, choose actual people who will care for your kids, for her godparents. Whoa. Okay. Can you refuse to be Nino Nino? Of course you
Yes.
can.
Yes.
Don't that's me. I'm like I don't think I can take responsibility, or I don't think we're close enough.
Mhm.
And that's I don't think people should take offense. And that's to be fair because some people I mean like there's like two levels of Ninong Ninang. There's like the first degree actual ones, the most
Mhm.
important. And then the others who like you hope to get them to sponsor the event.
Yes.
So I don't buy into that guilt trip. Nah.
And me, I be direct. I tell them that I don't feel I'll be able to fulfill the role. And then sometimes they'll say, no, I really want, okay, fine, but I'm sorry, I won't really be able to do this that often. And in that case, then that's fine. Others, they really just do that because they want to have a lot of backup to watch over their kid.
But I'm sorry, and I'm very jaded in the sense that they also want a lot of people to give during the baptism or like during the event. And yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna flash this story because it's big. Mitch is like, immigration story. 3 to go to SG, 2 backed out, went instead, early flight, airport, immigration officer, mag-isa ka lang. And I replied, ha? Bakit mo bawal ba? Fantastic. Okay. Huh. Nikki's now reminded that he has godchildren. Pa-pam!
And then there's that milestone moment of being sincerely called a sir or a ma'am, basically meaning you've transcended childhood and the person now sees you as the adult.
And not just ma'am, sir, by the
Yeah.
card at the door.
So it's like, you're talking with people and then casually the person will go, oh nga pala, Sir Rocky, baka pwedeng ganyan, ganyan. And you realize, wait, can't you just call me Rocky? Because you're already seen automatically as someone of a higher, older, more mature level.
Definitely niche, but annoying in the gay world when someone calls you daddy. No. And it happens sooner and sooner, I feel. There's like younger and younger people who are being addressed as daddy. And what
And-
the hell, guys?
And karma will come because those who called us that, you'll have your day.
Every baby becomes a daddy sooner or later. Okay. What's this? Okay.
Sabihan ng po. Yeah, that's the other version.
Oh, sabihan ng po. That's nice. Kenny's story about baptism is like a little lengthy, but I'm trying to parse it. It's like, what is tinataway na yung mga ninong? Okay, I'm sorry. What does that mean? Is that like cattle call? Okay. I feel like it's a context clue. Okay. Yeah. And then I don't know, beyond that, it's like weird milestones, and I guess a weird long-term milestone that start thinking about when you start thinking about retirement
Mm.
or thinking about life after work, which can include things like um, uh, getting a memorial plan,
Mm.
thinking about a will,
Mm.
thinking about inheritance. It's like, I mean, it's heavy, but there's it. We should be at that point where we should be drafting up
There's
legal paperwork for
there's
these
the
things.
extended level of that as well, wherein you now have those hard conversations with your parents.
Yeah.
Wherein, sometimes it's them who initiates it, or sometimes you end up initiating it because you realize it has to be talked about and no one's bringing it up yet. But there's so, yeah, it's that sort of conversations.
Mm-hmm. Mitch and Lighter Note shares first time to miss your flight. I have never missed a flight.
I
Okay.
haven't either.
I have never missed a flight because I'm like crazy.
Mhm.
And thankfully, Toby is also crazy. Therefore, we're at the airport 3 hours before our flights.
We'd rather sit and read than panic and rush.
Yeah, we arrived before the counter opens, and oh my god, it's that's I'm so happy to be with this man that we don't stress over it. Okay.
I'm thinking of the closing years. So preparing for
Kenny was asking for gay people.
closing.
You think about your inheritance? Haven't gotten that far.
Yeah, I
Gotta
mean,
admit.
I have considered at some point that if anything does happen, who does everything go to? But I realized the answer to that is, in as much as I wanted, let's say, to go to Rocky, but then let's say we both, then who then it'll all go to? And I think, given how things are, I'm fine with just immediate family dealing with it. Only because I don't know how easy it will be to, let's say, commit it to, let's say, your nephew or this and that.
Which from a being practical standpoint, then it's less about figuring out who will inherit and figuring out who is the executor of your estate.
Yes.
Which is a different thing.
Yes.
And then let them figure it out. Amos nicely shares first fandom.
Mm.
Huh? How did we miss that? That's true. The
That's
first
true.
thing that you become super into. Transformers. That's me. Transformers and Spider-Man. Those are my first fandoms. What were your first fandoms?
Marvel Comics. It would be the New Mutants.
Mm.
PowerPoint and the New Mutants. Power Pack. Power Pack and the New Mutants.
PowerPoint and
And-
then New Mutants.
Animation. I was super trying to do animation when I was young.
Okay. Well, me was writing.
Well,
obviously.
film and animation. So I was doing a lot of.
I
homemade
super have
movies.
this image of Clippy in like the rainbow streak of like power pack. I'm like, let's go, Franklin. I can help with that. Wow, Pico 21, really? Or Yu-Gi-Oh? That hurts, Pico. That hurts.
Oh boy.
New milestone. First time someone makes you feel old. Ayan, you have so many PowerPoint fans also.
And I think a milestone in the latter years is to actually sincerely and honestly say, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I know. I think there's a point. There's a point you stop caring about the general opinion of the world,
Or
and
the
you
need,
just
or
focus.
the need to have your opinion be
Validated.
Be validated.
Yeah, you reduce your reliance on external validation. That's true.
So yeah, I think that's a milestone which we can only hope more people eventually do embrace. Because a lot really are so stuck in this need for validation because of social media.
Karen shares first time to eat out alone. Oh, that's interesting. But sometimes like very functional. It's like I ate a McDo.
I have one.
Oh,
First time to buy cake because you want to and not because there's a celebration.
this is a very specific milestone.
But it's a real milestone.
I've never bought cake for myself for the sake of having cake.
Because cake isn't meant for just celebrations.
I only buy cake for celebrations.
We're gonna break that and hit that milestone.
Nikki jokes first Apple device. I have not hit this milestone. Of course, her first PowerPoint presentation. That's such a work thing, but like giving I guess your first presentation, or it can be school. Oh my God, yeah, we're in this generation now where people give PowerPoint presentations in school.
Mhm.
Oh my God, our first presentation to be OHP on acetate.
Manila paper.
Oh yes,
And writing everything on cartolina, which you fold so that there are lines you follow when you write.
yes. Okay. Now Mitch wants cake. It's your fault.
I want cake too. Tomorrow, let's all have cake.
I like the reminder. Nikki, of course, tells everyone that you buy random cakes Toby saves cakes. When he thinks that nobody loves them, he will buy them.
Do that for cakes, for toys.
Toby is like this hero of many things.
Everything deserves love.
Especially if you can eat them. Fish kiss.
They kiss. because if we're straight, fist bump.
Probably like, dude, fire.
It's the COVID way to fist bump.
Oh my god, yes, this is now COVID. No, it's COVID kissing.
so if it's a French kiss, and then hand.
I don't want to French kiss your hand. No.
Like,
Oh wow, Pico is eating a cake.
hey, Pico, not fair. You have to send
Mitch
us all.
wants the Mary Grace black velvet cake. Karen just finished the cake. Jed now wants cake. Let's all eat cake.
Okay,
We don't have cake.
we have to like have a mango bravo day.
And what? Just eat it during the show.
Yes, just have an episode. Hi guys. And then here's our guest Pico. And Pico.
This is right up there with like our idea of we should have an episode where we just talk to the Google Union and just have a conversation the whole time, and all your devices will get triggered. Oh, Mitch is like first board game.
Oh,
What was my first board game? It was probably Snakes and Ladders. Toby triggered. Because if not that, it was Monopoly. But actually, the first board game I consciously like wanted to play more, funnily enough, was Sorry. I don't know. I super got into Sorry. And it was just so hard to win. Because at the end, you have to roll exact to win.
Jed, I like that. Let's have a cake party where everyone comes with a different flavored cake. I like that. And then we'll at a certain hour, it's our cutoff time, and then we'll slice all the cakes so everyone has a single plate with all the slices of different cakes. That's beautiful. We should do that.
Wow, Nikki's like, how about the first celebrity you meet?
Doesn't count for me because we did have celebrities who were family friends. So it had that weird, we were talking and all this and that, and then everyone else, oh my god! I'm like, why? Why are they all going crazy?
Yeah, because like if I think about my grade school years, I once hit Atom Aralio on the head. But he was just 5 and up at that time, so it wasn't as big. Karen checks if chess is a board game. Totally. And that's why Queen's Gambit memes are now just swapping chess for other board games. So I support chess, still a board game.
Yes.
We need to coordinate. Oh my god, this cake thing. This cake thing is snowballing.
Okay. Let's do a quick Google search right now.
Wow, Kenny was like Marian Rivera back when BGC still incomplete.
Okay, guys, World Cake Day. No, wait, that's national. Let's see if the International Cake Day is July 20. So let's plan a July 20 International Cake episode.
Which says that we're still doing Baduy Pride until July.
And on that episode, or even better, if it's a party, we shall all have cake. July 20.
Wow, Nikki was Claudine Barreto.
Mm.
Who would be your first celebrity, Toby? It could have been Lea Salong, but he didn't know.
It would be, excuse me, Val Soto.
Whoa. Okay.
Siblings of Vic and because they live 2 houses down the street.
I mean, and technically, because Tito Vic and Joey used to go to our house a lot because my grandfather was a director, but I don't know if I was alive. But so I don't know the timing. Things to think about. Okay. Yeah, we're looking at the cake day thing, and now it's a Baduy Pride cake party. Okay. New Baduy Pride language today is fisties.
So the challenge before July 20 is to find a keto cake for you.
That's not
For that cake.
that's not difficult.
No.
There are keto cakes.
No, it's difficult because it has to be a good one.
Wow. Shade.
Because some of the ones you had weren't good.
Wow. It's like, I got my mom keto stuff for her birthday. And then the look on her face when she tried it was really like judgment. It was like, that's how it is, mom. Okay, here were people just talking about Marilyn Rivera.
All right. So I guess we can wrap up because it is already 10:40
Yeah.
and it's a Sunday.
Our last note about this cake thing, remember, it means everybody brings a unique cake. So that's the challenge. Is that we'll need, the more guests, the more variants of cake.
And we'll need to prepare a Google Sheet so people can input what cake they're getting and from where to make sure that there's no same cake.
Yes.
And then who knows, maybe we'll hit numbers and we'll be in the Guinness Book of Records or something.
Most varieties of cake gathered for a live stream.
Yeah, that's a rare enough category to get its own award.
I mean, we could, even if it's like, I assume we're still in quarantine at that point, we could do a Zoom party and then everybody like flashes their cake for the camera. That could work. I should learn to
How many
feed.
How many images can you have in Zoom?
It depends on your monitor resolution, but I think it tends to max out. I mean, comfortably at 16 to 20, depending on screen.
So just 20. I was thinking we could virtually have a virtual 20 mixed cake image.
That's difficult.
Everyone just holds their cake up and then it's this.
It's this quilt of a cake. Okay.
Let's wrap up.
We're wrapping up. Thanks, guys.
So that's all the time we have for this episode. We had a lot of fun and we hope you'll join us again next time.
If you have questions or suggestions for future episodes, fill out the Google form at bit.ly Baduy Pride Ideas. We'd like to thank Andre for suggesting that we talk about life milestones. I did not realize we would talk about it for 90 minutes.
This is for you, Andre. Kiss!
Sharky, 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 sharky. I want the fishy sharky. You can follow us on Twitter, Altobi no shade.
You can also check out our blog, that's baduypride.com, for all previous episodes about us. And stuff about us.
He did it again.
Yes.
It's the same error you made the other time. Why are you laughing like a Muppet?
There's a bad sector.
Guys, do you know how you laugh like a Muppet? You just open your mouth and laugh. That's how Muppets laugh, guys. It's true. Just look at Guy Smiley. Okay. Feel free to continue the conversation in the comments below. What are other milestones you suddenly realized? And what cake do we write you down for Cake Day 2021? Okay. And then be sure to subscribe for notifications, whether on Facebook or YouTube, so you don't miss our next live stream. Once again, I'm Rocky.
I'm Toby.
And this is Baduy Pride. Have a good evening. Mwah. We talk about that. Okay, bye.